I recently purchased a 1,000 horsepower electric appliance, but you know what I miss? It's cars like this. It doesn't matter how many horses my electric computer has, sometimes I just need a 6-speed manual in an old school machine like this 2021 Subaru WRX. This WRX is nice and simple, an affordable, easy way to have some fun with a stick shift rally car. In this video, I'm going to give you my opinion on whether or not you should buy a used WRX for $25,000. Cars are getting so expensive these days that having options like this for 25 grand is such a breath of fresh air. Of course, having a used hot rod like this WRX is not your only option for $25,000. You have comparable Volkswagen GTIs or used Honda Civics. But I like the way this one looks. A standard 4-door sedan, but just aggressive enough to tell you that it's sportier than your average Honda Civic. Dual exhaust pipes is just what this WRX needs. Nice and loud when you start this thing up too. Even somebody that doesn't know anything about cars will know that this is something more than just a standard 4-door sedan by this humongous hood scoop right in the middle of the hood, trademark Subaru WRX. You have this WRX badge on the side and then nice sporty body molding. It's done in a very tasteful manner, not completely over the top. The wheels could be a little bit bigger, a little bit sportier, but I do like the combo of the black wheels with this nice blue color. Of all the colors the Subaru comes in, this is my favorite. I think the blue really stands out on the road. There's a lot going on in this headlight area, lots of lines pointing to the headlights, some lines by the fog light. I guess sometimes you gotta let designers just do their thing. They also made the plastic by the fog light have a fake carbon fiber look. Props to Subaru there for being extra creative. The all-wheel drive on this Subaru is symmetrical as opposed to what? Asymmetrical? These side view mirrors I would have expected to be closer to the front of the door, but they're kind of set back here, possibly to provide a little more visibility, and they're also manually foldable. Overall, a nicely designed exterior, but the real magic of this WRX is what's under the hood. All the driving fun is provided by this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 268 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. Inside the car, it feels a lot older than 2021. It's almost like traveling back in time. These seats are all manually adjusted, no power buttons. You have to remember to pull up on this to move the seat forward or backwards. The seats are really comfortable though. I love the way the side bolsters are designed. In a lot of cars, you find them intrusive, but these fit your body just perfectly. You can tell that this car was designed for the driver, but your passenger will be equally as comfortable as the driver in the front seats. This WRX would not be a WRX without this 6-speed manual transmission. This is a pretty tall gear lever, but when you shift, it's nice and notchy and very mechanical. You can hear all the noises as the gears are going in. And the way the cup holders are designed, even with this huge water bottle, which not only fits in here, it doesn't get in the way of shifting. You have to slightly move your elbow, but you could completely have cups here and still be able to shift, no problem. I like the steering wheel. It's got some nice red stitching, but the buttons on here are pretty cheap and flimsy, especially these on the sides. They feel like they're about to fall off. That would be my complaint with this car, is that some parts of the interior do feel pretty cheap, like they used bargain basement plastics. But $25,000 for a used Subaru WRX, I think I can live with that. This media center feels a little dated, but things work reasonably well, responsive to the touch. Although I wish these were actual real buttons instead. You have an additional display up here that's pretty cool. You can go through different options to show you mileage, the boost in your engine. Then you have to hold this button down to get into additional options. The display is nice and bright though, easy to see. I like the extra screen that's up here. What I don't like though is this button. It's a little hard to reach, especially when you're driving and you're back in your seat. You do have to lean forward a little bit to get to this one. This one would have been much better placed down here where it's easier to access. Subaru does feel the need to tell you in multiple ways what kind of gas mileage you're getting. You have an option to see it here, and as you're driving, you can see your MPG indicator as well. All the analog gauges are nice. to go along with the analog driving experience. That's Subaru's way of telling you to have fun with this car, but also remember to be practical. Speaking of practicality, you have additional cup holders in the door panel. Reasonably roomy and comfortable back here with great seats. And that is the nice thing about the Subaru, is that you can have fun as a driver, but also use this as a very practical sedan. You also have a nice sized trunk to pack up all your luggage for a road trip. So this fun driver's car can also be a reasonably comfortable people transporter. As soon as you start driving this car, the first thing that you want to do is find the curviest road that you can find. The handling, the steering feel is so good. It's so connected to the road. There's no hint of instability whatsoever. And this thing revs so quickly and so easily that even with 268 horsepower, it still feels pretty quick. Even though this car isn't incredibly quick, 0 to 60 at 5.5 seconds, the whole feel and act of driving this car is very mechanical. You also hear a lot of the turbo noises as you're shifting. And this is a car you can feel completely good about throwing around turns because, you know what? This car can handle it. The all-wheel drive's great because you have loads of traction, loads of grip. And because there's not a lot of insulation, it's not all that quiet inside, but that's a good thing. Especially when you're trying to have a little bit of fun driving. And the whole time you're trying to have fun, the gas mileage indicator is in yellow and red for the most part, which is a good thing. That means you're doing something right. Whatever the WRX lacks in terms of straight line speed, it more than makes up for it in the turns. To be honest, with a car like this, you don't need a whole lot of power because Subaru has managed to figure out how to make this just as much fun with only 268 horsepower. The suspension on this is really good, and I'm actually surprised at how comfortable the ride is. I would have expected with a car like this to be a lot stiffer and firmer in terms of ride, but this one actually is pretty good. It's real easy to shift and roll through the gears. It really doesn't take all that much to have a lot of fun in this car. The WRX is the kind of car which you just cannot putter around in. You get in this thing and you feel compelled to push it. But more than just trying to go fast, it's about trying to take those turns and enjoying the driving feel and how the car responds back. I feel pretty good about what this car can do for 25 grand. If you happen to be cruising along in a straight line, you will hear a decent amount of road noise or wind noise, but remember, only 25 grand. This car could actually be a decent daily driver commuter car. The ride is better than I thought it would be. It's not gonna shake your bones loose and drive you crazy day after day. This is pretty compliant, and I'm surprised the Subaru was able to get that sort of performance out of the car and make sure that the ride's comfortable at the same time. I'll tell you what, a used WRX is really good value for the money. This WRX is most at home where the roads have a lot of twists and turns. You're not gonna get a lot of straight line speed with this car. For that, you have to go for the STI. But the WRX is also cheaper and can give you just as much fun if you stick to the corners. You could go with a lot of older cars for $25,000, but if you want something newish like this 3-year-old WRX, this is a great choice. The beauty with cars like these is it's not going to be nearly as expensive to maintain as German cars. If you've seen other videos I've done on the cars that I've owned which have been German, you know how expensive it can be to maintain those cars. With this one, you can buy it and enjoy it and not have to drain your child's college fund to repair. I would give this one the edge over the Honda Civic Si or the GTI or other cars in this category, just because it's a little bit unrefined, boisterous, loud, and has that just something extra to give you some stress relief at the end of a very difficult workday. In my book, this car's a winner, and the best part is if you don't want to buy it used, you want to buy it new, it's still in the low 30s. And when you look at all the options out there for the low 30s, guess what? There are none.